in the last 15 years, our industry has really kind of gravitated towards perfectly tuned vocals in most genres, and it's such a commonly done thing now when you hear a vocal that's done naturally, even if it's pretty well in tune. To some people, it sounds off. So tuning can be very important for that reason, just to sound modern. And it some people tuning some people say tuning is bad, tuning is good. It really has to do with the guy doing it, the user. You can tune stuff in a very natural state, very subtle. Especially with a good singer, you don't need much. Obviously, there are those auto tune effects that are extreme. We're not talking about those. We're just talking about getting things just on pitch. So with Melodyne, I prefer the Melodyne plugin. There's also a standalone version. The plugin is great because it's right here in Pro Tools. It's on. You put it on the track you're working with. You don't have to export anything. That's great. One thing that's important to know about Melodyne is that it records the track into its plugin, and it actually creates a new audio file on your hard drive. So you can't. You need to be conscious of where you place it. You don't want to place it, for instance, after a compressor, because it's going to record the sound of that compressor. And after you've recorded that vocal, when you go back to adjust your compressor, nothing's going to happen because it's no longer playing back the audio file. Let me show you a quick thing of what I mean. I like to have a little bit of music. Some people get distracted by drums and stuff. So if you just put in bass, which will have the tonic or grand piano, just something to give you a solid bass to listen to, so you're not just going by the lines when you're tuning. You make it musical. I have the whole track in here, but I like to lower it so I just kind of hear it in the background. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to track this vocal into Melodyne. We hit the track button there, hit play.
So if love is just a metaphor for things they used to feel before the war.
So I'm going to show you. Check this out. It's now no longer playing back from this audio file, and it's no longer playing this compressor. Check this out.
So if love is just a metaphor,
no change. And in fact, I can actually even delete this audio.
Love is just a
it's still there because it's playing back its new Melodyne generated audio file. So that's why you want to make sure Melodyne is the first plugin in the series. So now that it's there, now our compressors afterwards, actually don't need that, I'm going to get rid of it, but make sure the Melodyne is first and you won't have any problems. So now we're going to go back and transfer in the whole file.
So if love is just a metaphor for things they used to feel before the warning signs came true and she got tired of you.
Okay. The cool thing about this plugin is you can actually make the window as big or as small as you want. I like to make it, almost full screen. So let me go over the tools real quick. Actually zoom in so you guys can see this really easy. If you click and hold on the tools, they have drop-down tools. So you have the main, the hand, the zoom tool. The zoom 2, I always use it first so I can really get in there and see what I'm doing. And you'll see it's an XY axis that we're looking at. So left to right is our song, our timeline, and then up and down is our notes. So you can actually see what note they were intending shooting for, or where they landed. You have a formant tool. You can actually kind of make something sound a little more masculine or feminine. You have volume. So if a certain phrase jumps, you can jumps out real loud or something, you can actually tame that down rather than having to save it for a compressor or volume automation later. You have undo and redo, which is very helpful. And then you have time stretching with the rhythms, and I could do a whole 20 minutes on this, but if something's a little bit out of time, you can stretch it. It's very natural. It's one of the most natural time waveform manipulators I've actually ever used. It's very helpful to get things on beat, or if someone sung a note and they ran out of breath and they cut off early, you need to just extend it a little bit. It can be excellent for that. Let me undo here, put everything back where it was. Okay, so just as far as basic tuning to get started, we got our vocal transferred in, and we can see you want to go by the line. The line is the actual pitch. It actually shows the vibrato, everything. So you don't the blob is just kind of to show you the waveform, so you're not just staring at thin tiny lines. But you can see he peaks a little high and then goes a little bit flat. But the actual note, a lot of singers, they attack a note and they go a little bit sharp, and they rest into that note after the attack. So this is the actual pitch down here. So if we want it, sorry, we are on another feature, is you can lock pitches to a mode called snap and actually just change by whole notes. I mean, by whole steps. We don't want to do that. We want it to move freely. So you can hear it rising in pitch as I raise it. I kind of want to get an average between the attack he hit and the note he lands on, because it's so quick. It's not a long held out note. So if I go kind of right in the middle, right about there, you see our note line right here. It's an A. So that'll probably be perfect. And a lot of things, like this is some pretty deep vibrato here. If you look here, we're going from F down to E and up to F sharp. He's spanning 3 notes with one sung note here. So they have a tool here where you can reduce the modulation, actually lower the vibrato. So now he's, we're a little bit flat. We'll go back to the pitch tool, get him lined up. And now he's wavering with his vibrato up and down. Now it's more like a quarter step rather than, the huge 3 steps he was wavering before. And you just kind of go along your timeline, and I just like to nudge things. I don't like to flatten things out, to where they're robotic. If you do that, it's gonna sound like a robot. You don't want that. Or maybe you do, but on this song we don't. Go back to my pitch tool. And if you got a good singer and he's fairly close and you just kind of nudge things, follow these lines, and it'll come across very natural, very nice. See here, he started flat and went sharp. So you just kind of go on through, and you'll get a handle for where to put everything. Another feature of Melodyne, which is really important, is the last tool here, which splits notes. So you see here, he actually does a run up to this note, and it contains about 3 notes. So we can, but for some reason Melodyne showed it as, they showed the line, but they'd only showed 1 blob, and we need the blob to be able to grab to move the pitches. So let's split that. You can see what it does. The blobs jump to the note that they represent. And there's even a little bit of a note here. So if I kind of get these all on their pitch. The great thing about having the Melodyne plugin versus the standalone is I can kind of go through this, do a once over, go back to mixing, go back to doing more recording, and it's just going to stay here, so I can come back and tighten it up later.
So if love is just a metaphor for things they used to feel before.
So it's a lot better. You can get really picky if you want, go in here and really fool with the vibratos. And if you do something, let's say this line I just adjusted, it just didn't sound as good tuned. It sounded better, a little bit natural. So you can go here and you can actually revert to, you go to reset parameters. You can reset your modulation, your pitch, and another feature with Melodyne is drift. Some notes, see if I can find a good one here. Maybe this one here. It might see how he gets flatter here than he is over here.
True.
You can use drift, and it's not gonna, where modulation will adjust how much vibrato. This keeps all the same amount of vibrato. It just kind of teeter-totters the line over the course of the note. So if they start to go sharp at the end, you can teeter that back, and you can even get real specific in there, and you can split something and just work on one part. So if I split here, and then I want to pitch drift just this one line, I can do that. Also, you have corner adjustments for sliding. Slide down to that next note. You just go to the corner. It'll show you this kind of X-shaped icon, and that would be a very steep, abrupt step down, where that will glide more. So especially the genres like rock music, where a lot of singers glide into every note, and you don't want to get rid of that, as it'll sound very robotic. You might have to fool with those gliding parameters while you're tuning. That's pretty much it. There is an auto mode if a singer's really close and you just want to highlight, big section. We can actually zoom out here and we can highlight everything and hit this. You drag, you see it's moving everything to the pitches that it's supposed to be. The only problem is if the singer's a little rougher, it could drag it to the wrong pitch. So sometimes if you want to do a quick tuning job, you can use auto mode, but then go through and make sure it got everything right. Just listen down, and as you're listening, just nudge up and down. But if you really want to get a vocal to sound natural and perfectly in tune without sounding, like someone did the auto mode, you just go through and use those techniques I showed you, and you should be very happy with the results. Thank you very much.